So just first of all, really, hands up, those of you, have you heard of Making Tax Digital? So less than half of you in the room. So, okay. So essentially what I'm going to do is just explain what Making Tax Digital means, what it is, the process, and there's a lot of negativity around Making Tax Digital, but actually I want to focus on the positives. So first of all, the vision. So traditionally, SMEs have needed to complete either a personal tax return or company accounts, company tax return. Revenue Customs are looking to abolish the tax return, and what they want to do is have businesses, like say sole traders, partnerships, limited companies, report on a quarterly basis, so report their income, their expenses on a quarterly basis online. So a lot of SMEs that we work with are on kind of traditional kind of Sage, Excel. You'll appreciate if you're running your business in that way, that there's no way really of being able to do that online. So therefore, that's why you've got to start to adopt this technology. The cynical vision for Making Tax Digital is that if you're reporting your income, your expenses on a quarterly basis to Revenue Customs, then naturally they will probably want to then in time accelerate the tax payment. So whereas traditionally it's either 9 months after your year end or 10 months after your personal tax, every quarter they can kind of say, well, this is kind of how much money you're making, therefore let's have your money up front. So it is going to be a big change for SMEs. Like I say, the opportunity that we see is that whilst from an admin kind of point of view, there is going to be a bit more reporting if you're having to take your data from an existing system forward, actually it's going to make businesses understand their figures. It's going to make them understand their profits, and therefore that they can kind of go on holiday safe in the knowledge that they understand what their business is doing, what their tax bill is, what their VAT bill is, and use technology like sort of Xero and Futurely to future-proof and look forward for your business. Not only will you actually understand what your business is doing, but it will enable you to then make informed business decisions based on actual information. A lot of our businesses currently will kind of look at the bank and think, right, that's kind of how well we're doing, and typically they'll kind of fall short when a bigger tax bill comes in that they weren't expecting, or the VAT bill they wasn't planning for that. So gone are the days of running your business from your bank account. You've actually got to kind of take control of your figures. So as I said, they're potentially with the snap election in June, the information on Making Tax Digital, you may have seen in the press that there's a lot of sort of talk around it being scrapped and abolished. Well, actually, it was never in the Finance Act before the snap election. So we're actually no further along now than we would have been if the election wasn't taking place. There potentially was talk of Making Tax Digital for businesses, Making Tax Digital for individuals, and also Making Tax Digital for VAT. So again, for the SME, there's potentially a huge reporting burden that's potentially coming. You can imagine that if you're a business owner with property, then you may have an obligation to report on a quarterly basis for your business. Your business may have a different year end to your personal tax, so therefore you will have to do 4 returns for your business, 4 returns for you personally, and then you'll also have to do an end of year declaration, which sounds suspiciously like a tax return or a year end set of accounts. So potentially, a SME could have to do 10 submissions a year, as opposed to 1 or 2 that they're currently doing at the moment. So, really, I would encourage you to consider what your systems and processes are now to understand how you can adopt or embrace, these changes. This was the guidance given by Revenue Customs before the election was announced. So you can, obviously I'm not going to read the dates there for you, but you can see kind of where potentially you as a business owner would fit and what timescales. And like I said a minute ago, we're no further along knowing what that was before the election than now. So once the election has happened, we'll keep obviously up to date with whether these dates change. But ultimately the bottom line is, it's coming. So therefore, as Gary sort of alluded to, make sure that you are an early adopter of technology, and make sure that you're not panicking. If it sort of the dates stayed the same, are you ready to embrace reporting online by April next year? So that's one of the obviously we work very closely with the likes of Xero, and so I just wanted to show you kind of, if you haven't kind of seen Xero, I know Gary kind of had a show of hands, I think it was half of you, but I just wanted to run through some of the sort of snapshot of the features of Xero and how we believe it can benefit your businesses. So each business will have a dashboard, so when you're logging in, at the moment you may have to collate lots of different pieces of software like your Excel schedules to understand where your business is at. Xero will understand where your bank, what your bank position is. There'll be direct feeds, so the bank statements are automatically uploaded into Xero on a daily basis, which means there's less. This was what we were talking about, automation. You'll understand what invoices you're owed, so you know what to chase up, what's overdue, who you owe money to, so you know if you're kind of getting behind on payments. And also if there's certain accounts that you want to keep track of, then you can have that. And this is all very customizable, and you can tailor it to your specific needs and business. We mentioned automation in terms of bank feeds. Xero with machine learning will eventually be able to reconcile itself, so it will understand what your suppliers, who your customers are, and actually within this example, on the left hand side is kind of a copy of your bank statements. On the right hand side, it's saying you've received some money from Ridgeway University. There's an invoice on the system for that. Therefore, is that the same thing? Yes, brilliant. It's reconciled. We've even actually had clients that we've migrated onto Xero that say now bank reconciliation is fun, but I'll leave you to make of that what you will. But it does, like Gary sort of said, it does automate a lot of the processes, therefore leaving you time to run your business and actually kind of grow your business or make more money, rather than on a Saturday, Sunday night kind of sitting there tapping in lots of information. We mentioned a lot of you guys in the room have smartphones, whether that be Apple or Android. You can now run your business from your phone. As Gary said, you know, we've now got supercomputers in our pocket, so you can reconcile your bank, you can raise invoices from your phone, you can be sitting on a train, you know, looking at your business. Also, you can, and this is sort of something that's very popular when we talk to a lot of our clients. You know, you could be taking photos of receipts on the move, so your train ticket or your parking ticket, or if you fancy taking me out for lunch, you can take a photo of that, key in the details, and then that will automatically be in your system when you get back to the office. So therefore, you don't have piles of paper mounting up. It's all done on the move. All of our clients, that you know, they will never need to guess what their VAT return is, because you should be checking this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to understand what VAT is accruing. So again, there's no nasty surprises. So you can make, like I said earlier, make informed business decisions based on actually knowing what position your business is in. The profit and loss, this is pretty basic, but what there is a feature within Xero is to be able to track different parts of your business. So if you have different income streams or different offices or different departments, you can actually track income and expenditure to these tracking options, and they can be anything. So for example, we have a construction client who does a lot of refurbishments. So we track each individual property, and at the end of the week, month, we print a report. And it was a client of ours called Lee, and he had 10 properties that we're tracking. And I said to him, I sort of said, Lee, you know, on property X, you've made a £5,000 loss. You know, what kind of happened there? And he actually kind of sort of went away, and he wasn't quite sure. But because he was so busy, he'd forgotten to raise the final invoice for that property, which I'm sure he'd have worked out in the end. But you imagine what kind of impact that has on his cash flow. But also, more importantly, it's actually understanding if certain elements of your business are actually performing. So you may look at the profit or the cash at the bank, and that's all healthy, but actually when you drill down and you see one element of your business is making a loss, then you're able to now make a decision whether to increase, you know, increase your prices or stop doing it. So you're actually making more profit doing less work, which I know, you know, hopefully that's all where we want to be. Like I said, there's lots of reports within Xero, and it's really understanding what reports, what information you guys need now to be able to run your business. And if the reports you want to report on kind of non-financial data, so we work with a restaurant and they want to know what the average spend of a client is. Now, Xero won't be able to help do that because it's very much based on the kind of the ins and outs of bookkeeping. But that's where somebody like Futurely will come in, because they can report on non-financial data, and because Xero's plugged into something like Futurely, the information is being dragged up every day. So again, it takes away that kind of manual copy pasting of data. Within Xero, there's what they call their marketplace. So what this enables businesses to do is, whether you're a small business or a startup, you don't want to be, shelling out lots of money on servers and big pieces of equipment. Everything works now on a subscription model. So as a business that's looking to grow, this is very scalable, because you can add on bits and pieces of different modules for when your business grows. So you may have a retail business, so you may want a point of sale, and that will add on, that will integrate seamlessly with Xero. You may want payment solutions, so when you're sending invoices out, there can be a big button, say pay now, and that can automatically link with your business. And there's loads of other things, CRM, e-commerce, the list goes on. I just wanted to put up a couple of hopefully interesting stats. I just really wanted to focus on the bottom one. 88% of startups using Xero are still in business after 5 years. Now, that is basically, in my opinion, purely because they're being forced to take note of what their income is, what their expenses are, and actually tracking different parts of their business. So therefore, if you're more in tune or engrossed in the figures rather than being dragged down with the data entry, then you can actually, like I say, understand your business much more, and hopefully that will make you more profitable and make you kind of last longer. So we put this poll out in February asking SMEs what stops them from embracing cloud technology, and we've talked in length about data security, and we're going to have a Q&A at the end, so hopefully start thinking of some questions now, and I'll let Gary respond on the data security. But in terms of learning new systems and hassle of movement, again, using pieces of technology, you can do this within a matter of kind of days. So we had a client based on Sage. Within 24 hours, with a bit of notice and a bit of planning, we moved everything from Sage into Xero, and they were up and running within kind of 48 hours. So, the hassle of moving and learning a new system, it's very user friendly, and we can set you up with a free trial license if that's something that you're looking to do. So really, it's understanding what's next. So having taken on looking at our own internal processes and systems, I've spent the last 12 months actually changing our systems internally, and you probably won't be surprised to know the kind of two of the software providers that we've used. But I've actually been, traditionally we've kind of used Excel and a lot of kind of manual things. So as you guys as business owners, whether you've got staff or whether it's for yourself, I understand the challenges, the concerns and the pains of actually going through that process. So my biggest kind of tip to you would be to kind of have a plan, a business plan, understand where you are, understand where you want to be, set short milestones, because it can seem quite a daunting task to kind of be here, but you want to be over there, and it's kind of, that looks a bit too difficult for us to make that transition. But if you've got a plan, you break it down with the right training, with the right support. This is something that we do every day now, and it's become my role, that I go into businesses, understand their systems, their processes, and actually help them migrate to cloud, to technology, and to make sure they get the full use of that. So a bit of a cheeky plug. Like I mentioned, I do offer a free kind of one-to-one review of systems. So there's a retail business that we've been working quite closely with. They've had, essentially no processes in place, and we've gone in there and we've utilised some of the apps. So with this particular client, Vend, Xero, and then we're going to get onto a workflow. So at the moment, for his stock management, he was going around kind of counting all the t-shirts and all the shorts and all the, you can imagine he's got to do that once a month, and it just takes up so much time. But by implementing this technology, everything's barcoded, everything's scanned, so he can run a report on a daily basis showing him exactly what his stock figure is with all the items of stock that he's got. So it's just saved his time significantly. Another client in construction, they've grown very quickly, and they were employing someone to essentially, process 1,000 invoices a month. So literally just sitting there, just keying in the data. We use a bit of technology now called Receipt Bank. So all that person now has to do is scan the invoices. the technology understands the date, the detail, the VAT, and puts that all into something like Xero automatically. So again, it's kind of more than halved their bookkeeping time, which allows them to actually focus on more added value services, i.e. tracking the performance of projects and making sure they're profitable and that kind of thing. So much more interesting work. If you're kind of completely alien to Xero and want to learn more, then we do also run free introductory workshops, and we do those in Cambridge and Letchworth on a monthly basis. They're an hour long and they're free. And if you're concerned about making tax digital and the implications that's going to have on you or your business, then again, because we are in a bit of unknown territory at the moment, myself, my colleague Graham and Dave up there, we regularly write blogs between us. As soon as something happens, as soon as something changes, then if you go to that web link, you'll see our blogs and you'll see what's happening with the Making Tax Digital